I'm trying to tell you what exactly been happening in the industry and going forward how it is going to be. Okay, right. So yeah, these are numbers typically what we got from various sources. I would say like the junior developer roles have been already shrinked. I believe 20 to 25% have been decreased. The reason because earlier, as India, we are in a service industry. We were mostly focusing on selling services through people. So that was our main, probably money-making machine. But however, it is not going to be anymore. And going forward, I believe it's going to be more, few less jobs, the kind of roles what we had earlier. But probably the job description will be different. Because you would be mostly using AI agents to build the code, but however, you need to know what exactly you're building rather than that, okay? And one more thing, like the main important aspect is that like, it's not just for the tier 2 or tier 3 colleges, the same thing is for IIT and IIITs as well. There are a lot of unemployment even for the graduates who came out from IIT and IIIT. The reason is, again, like there is the workforce needed for typically earlier how it used to matter. It's not going to be at that scale anymore. Like typically even ourselves, like we used to hire around like 30 to 40 folks minimum per year. This year, I believe we have hired only like 6 to 7 folks. Okay, I'll tell you. And it's not like kind of we are getting into recession or something, because the job, what you've been taught so far, what you've been trained for, it is going to be changing. So probably you might need a little extra effort to get yourself to change that mode and get yourself ready for the future. Next slide. Yeah. So coming back to the job, how it is going to be, right? This, yeah, the job we preferred, yes. So this is typically the job you have done engineering so far for all 4 years, right? You learn syntax, you learn DSA, you try to solve those problems in HackerRank, all these lead code platforms and and you get hired in the similar way in these interviews. Write code and prove yourself that you are a really good programmer and you can write really good code, and that's how you get promoted after once you join the job. But that code mostly like going to be written by AI, right? I mean, like, so if you can see that 20 to 25 to 30% of code written by AI at Microsoft and Google, and Salesforce stopped hiring engineers. Like, they still started getting back seniors again, but however, they stopped hiring the juniors. The coding agents, typically now, there is something called as SWE. How many of you know SWE benchmark? Any idea? So that benchmark is the efficiency of these AI agents and LLMs of solving a real world bug on an open source repositories. So we kind of seen 70% accuracy of solving those on a real world open source repositories. And most of the senior devs use AI tools. So it would even before that, right? Like typically how a life cycle of a fresher would be. Like, you join a company, you will be given a task, and probably you'll have a mentor who train you, like, while you're coding, and he would review your work and kind of help you understand, okay, this is not the better way, that is the better way, why you need to take from that direction based on his experience, right? But however, now, rather than training 10 individuals, I can just put my effort and get my prompts right, and I can get the same work done by AI. Why would I be needing extra effort to train 10 individuals, and end of the day, I'm going to get the same amount of work there? So that is a big challenge right now. And that is the reason even most of the companies are focusing much on senior folks than junior folks. Okay. Because you guys are like, you've been trained on a certain job, but certain way of doing a job, but industry totally changed its momentum into some other space altogether, right? So, and the main, frankly speaking, like the main drawback of, it's not only you, probably even I came from that state, is that like we were trained to pass the exams rather than using it in practical way. It's all about marks. But how many of you all like, use those principles somewhere outside and solve a real world problem? I believe very few maybe. If anybody has done it, please come back and talk to me. I might give you an internship. But I believe no one. So that is a big problem with everyone. Like we want to hire the engineers, but you guys are not ready. Like, why would I take you in, train 6 months, give you salary, and then make you ready? It's an effort. It's a waste of effort for me as well, right? Like, then rather than that, I'll spend I'll spend with an AI agent and get the work done. Like it is running for 24/7. I can even like run it using my WhatsApp now, for that matter. So I'll give a task, it raises a PR and come back to me. I'll review the code, and if it is good, I'll merge it back. So typically that's what the work you guys would be doing in the first year of if you join a company, right? So that is being done by AI. What more you have to do then in that case, right? So going forward, system design is going to play a major role. So software engineering is not about like always best practices. It's always a trade-off, like why we choose A versus B, right? So there is no best framework, there is no best database, there is no best programming language, there is no best of anything, right? So it's all depend on the problem you're trying to solve. And to solve that problem, what's the efficient way of choosing all these tools is what matters. That makes the best, right? So the system design, right? I mean, so where does my data live? And what happens if like 10,000 users hit my application? How I have to design that? What is the simplest works and actually works, rather than like building some fancy UI with broken things altogether, right? మీరు ఇవ్వనివ్వండి, లేకుంటే అక్కడ నుంచి మాన్యువల్గానే చేయండి. So for example, right, like there are a lot of problems around you, like even in your college for that matter. How many of you see the notice board? Typically, if there is a curriculum, or they put all these notice board, right? Very few people. So how you can get the attention of your students, because you're a student yourself? That's a problem to solve for you, because you might even miss some important information as well if you're missing everything, right? So that's a problem for you. There are a lot of problems around in your college itself to solve, and it's not mandatory like somebody will pay for that problem, but however, to get started with the thought process you can put in, that's your college has a problem and your neighborhood might be having a problem. Try to solve that. So you would be forcing yourself to think from that direction, rather than like just waiting for the instruction. Like typically, like even if you join a company, someone has to give a task. Only then you will be putting your brain to get a code out of it. But that's not going to work anymore, right? Because again, that can be handled by AI. But you need to decide for your problem what is the optimum way of solving it. Like whether to choose what kind of database does it suit? Like SQL versus NoSQL for that matter. Does your application need front end? So typically it can be a React single page application, or else a typical simple HTML CSS would be sufficient, or else even a WhatsApp bot would be sufficient. End of the day, users need to use it. It doesn't matter whether it's a web app or a mobile app or something. What's the easier way to adopt to the people? So these are the things you need to put in your head and try to solve it. Okay. So yeah, the next trade-offs, like this is what I was trying to say. Like, so engineering, like, once you're building an application, there is no right way of doing it. It's all about who is your end user, what is the problem you're trying to solve, and what's the efficient way to get there in a quick, simple, possible way. Like, as I kind of mentioned, choosing between MongoDB and PostgreSQL. So there is no right answer for that. Like, if you have a structured data, you choose PostgreSQL. If you have some sort of simple documents and you want to move fast, you don't have a proper structure, structure, validated in your head, go with MongoDB, right? And the same with the React nomenclature, what I mentioned. So AI will build it faster, but however, you need to decide what to choose there. So it's always about, as given in the slides, fast to build or easy to maintain. You need to take the trade-off. Every decision what you make in building an application, it's a trade-off. You need to decide how you're gonna in the future, how it is going to be. Based on that, you make some conclusion, or else you think like you just want to validate this problem and you need not worry about like in the future, maybe you can build it from scratch again. So you choose towards fast to build. It's okay. Here and there, the things are fine, but yeah, validation is very important, right? So again, feature rich or simple is simple enough for people to use it. It doesn't matter if it is not solving the problem and it is really good UI. It has to solve the problem. That's a very important topic, right? And cheap versus reliable. So certain things like, end of the day, whatever we are trying to build in engineering, you're building for some other people who are willing to pay for using that product or a service, right? So again, like you need to decide, think about the end user. Who this end user is going to be? How much he's willing to pay for that? Is it a really big problem for him if you are solving it? And whether what are the alternatives? Like, is there any alternatives already exist in the market, or you can even so if it is you can if it is not built using AI native, AI ready, so probably you can even disrupt that market and build something out of giving a lot of AI features and solve that problem in a more efficient way, right? And you want build a fancy cutting edge tech or a boring tech. So people would try to pay, end of the day, it all matters is that like someone has to pay for what you're building. That is what we engineers build something end of the day, right? Even if you're working in a company or else we're building for yourself, that is what you're willing to pay for. And it is very important for you to validate the problem and in a very less cost effective way. What if like, you hire a big team, build something, but however, there is no adoption, right? I mean, it's all gone, right? I mean, so that's the reason. Rather than that, like try to validate your problem first. Like, who is this end user? How big the problem it is for them? Are they willing to pay? And how much they are willing to pay? And if they are willing to pay for next few years, like probably for next 10 years, if that is a problem they might have every single day, then definitely that's worth solving a problem for you. Build an application. Yeah. So AI can generate like, 1,000 solutions. Like, if you give a same prompt to build a landing page, it will give you 10 different variations, right? But what's your take in it? How you would, that's the taste. That's the quality and the taste that is where typically, like, companies will pay for, like, what's your taste? That's your quality. So choosing the best out of it, like, reviewing the code and making sure, yes, the quality is good. The code quality is good. It is not having any edge cases and is working fine. So that's your test. How much capable you are enough to push yourself to see that AI generated content and choose the right one so that you can showcase yourself that, yes, this is what my output is. Because AI will generate the same, more or less same for all the individuals. But however, it's your efficiency on forcing the AI to get the output how you want. That's the skill all about going tomorrow. It's not about like just giving a prompt and all of your friends copying the same prompt. Probably they'll all get the same results. So, and typically just going and copy pasting it. I mean, I believe most of your guys might have already done generating the using ChatGPT for a thesis and all that stuff without just copy pasting it, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah. So that is the main problem these days with every individual, that, like, because AI made so easy, we stopped using our brains. Yeah. So we need to decide, like, AI typically, if you without guardrails, AI can over engineer a lot. Like, if, like, instead of writing in 10 lines of code, it can do the work in 100 lines of code as well. But you need to understand, is that efficient enough? Is the edge case is being handled, or it is like, it is too much of effort, like too much of code being written, without need. So again, for this, like, I believe it comes with experience, but however, like, you can try to, judge, generate few outputs and, compare it and see. If you're able to understand the code very well, then definitely you can make a judgment on whether it is good code or bad code. Okay. Yeah. So this thing, like performance intuition, like, there are a lot of really good applications, but because of performance, user lose the interest in it, even though if it is. So we are in a stage where the attention to details is very less. Like, nobody is spending a lot of time for this attention to detail, right? So it is very important for us to get the grasp of it within that short span of time. So I believe, like, going forward, it's not just about computer science. You would be learning a little bit of computer science. You need to learn a little bit of sales. You need a little bit of marketing. You need to little bit of problem solving. All put together is what make you an engineer. Not just like writing a piece of code. Not anymore. Right? And quality. Suppose you generated a topic and ChatGPT gave you some content. So what your intuition into it, like, get the quality output. What is your expectation of first? Do you even have that quality mindset? Like, is that, I use AI, right? I mean, I use also AI to write my LinkedIn posts, for that matter, my blogs and all the other stuff. But however, I have my own version of the way I write in my mind, and I'll make sure the AI also write in the same way. Maybe not today, not tomorrow, maybe after few of fine tuning, but we'll definitely get there. Once that is done, I don't need to, like, again, spend my extra amount of time to review the content what being generated by AI, right? I'm saving my time there. That's a compound saving going forward, right? So once I reach there, so that's the state. Typically, you need to put in the effort for every decision, for that matter. Even if you are writing an email for tomorrow, just don't. I know, like, you might be generating emails as well using ChatGPT by giving us, this is what I'm going to do, and write an email. But however, just directly don't copy paste it. That's the reason there is the term called AI slop. AI slop is typically, without using our brains, people are copy pasting it. That is the AI slop. If you are using your brain, that is not AI slop. So AI is trained to sound confident, but it doesn't understand whether it is correct or not. It can bluff you saying that, yes, this is the way. Like, there are a lot of, because of hallucinations, because it is trained to help you. So during that process, even if something is not there, it will definitely make something up and give you, right? So if you are, if you ask about some imaginary hero, it will definitely, and if definitely try to help you and saying like, yes, I know this hero, something like that, okay? So the hallucinations are tend to happen. So again, it is your judgment to make sure like, yes, this data is accurate. And that's the reason, even while writing the code, if you don't understand it, don't ship it, right? Rather than building a big application which doesn't work properly, then focus on a one single small feature and ship it accurately, perfectly, which you know the code very well. At least you can explain it to the somebody individual who want to, you know, probably an interview sometime later in the future. So that is very important. To the fundamental, the concepts are very important rather than like writing a piece of code. Like, you know, yeah. So even come for that matter, the code failures, right? Like AI, even if you do a code review and all, it does pass the tests and all. But however, you need to understand the edge cases. If you know the problem properly, you know the edge cases, whether if it is handled properly or not, then again, you can go back to the agent and get the things done. So the end of the day, you need to be in control, not the AI has to be in control on you. Like if you stop using your brains, like it is mostly AI and under control, like, you know, you just copy pasting it from here and there and going forward. Yeah. So 6 things which you need to know going forward in terms of AI-led development. One is the decompose. The decompose is like, so you have a one big problem, how you can break them down into one smaller problems, right? So that is one important thing. And try to build something small rather than like building a gigantic application which is just AI slop. Try to take a small problem, try to solve it end to end, try to understand it. Even if you don't understand the code, ask again the AI to help you explain the code. It does a good job there as well. But if you're feeling lazy here and nobody's going to notice, let's ship it, and they will definitely come back and bite you some other day. I'm taking interviews like, I kind of tried many ways, and but still, like, you guys are trained to pass the exams, and to pass that, like, you will do whatever matters. That is a big problem for us as well, right? I mean, like, even for the interviews, for that matter, I've seen people cheating using ChatGPT beside. I kind of give a take-home assignment. It's all AI slop. They can't even explain the code what they've submitted. So this is what exactly happening. It made your lives easy. You're thinking it made your lives easy, but you're making your life hard by using it not in an efficient way. So try to, try to use AI, but however, use in a better, efficient way, being you in control. So read code, try to understand the code, try to, review it properly. If you don't understand it, again, think from a user angle, what more edge cases it can be, and try to ask these questions back to the AI so that at least if it already handled, then we're fair and good. If it is not handled, then at least it can go back and fix the bug further, right? Study systems, the system design, like, this is what I was trying to say, like, the trade-offs, what we take. Every decision is a trade-off. There is no good decisions or bad decisions. So you should be in a situation to take, if I given you like 3 bad decisions, you should be handled like which bad decision suits me for now, for my use case, right? Rather than just going after the build good practices, and you don't know what exactly you're going to build tomorrow. And test everything. This is very important stage. Like, as a code is written by AI, what exactly you're going to do is like make sure like whatever you want to build it yourself, try to test it properly and ship it. And pick a domain. Like, I believe many people already might have, because of parents or because of some, family members or something, they already know somebody or in legal, somebody or in healthcare, all this. Pick a domain. Go deep into that. Try to understand the problems in that domain. Then later, Try to solve one single problem for the people and try to ask these users whether it is a worth solving problem or not, and try to say if they are willing to pay for that, how big it is. And try not to go with your relatives. They won't give you real gut answers. Try to go to the real users who might be facing this problem. I'll tell you one example. So we also partner with T-Hub because more or less there are also like single two people startups there. So many people found few individuals there. I can't take the name, but they're not solving they're not finding a solution for the problem, but they found a solution and finding a problem around it. So that is a big problem. That is a big drawback and disaster, I would say, to build something and nobody is using it. It's easy to build these days until you know the domain properly and the problem you're trying to solve. So yeah, so AI made code free, but knowing what to build, who exactly you're building it for, and when it is good enough for you to judge are the skills probably we would need from you going forward. These are the most important aspects and skills probably you need to learn going forward, because like these are not can be replaceable by AI yet, because it doesn't have that taste what humans have. So use it to your advantage and try to build something, and whether it's up to you, like whether you want to get a job or start an entrepreneurship, it's up to you. But yeah, end of the day, you need to have that problem solving skills and understanding from a user perspective. That deep passion for the user is what important right now before building an app. I think pretty much that's it, yeah. So yeah, any questions? Yeah. Can someone hand over a mic, or else you can come forward if you want.
Hello.
Yeah.
Good morning, sir. We actually make a lot of projects using AI, and I feel that AI is like, if we didn't have AI LLMs, we wouldn't have thought about the projects that we are doing right now. So one doubt I have is, where is the line, like for suppose you are a recruiter and you want to judge my project. I have used AI. So what is like the line where the recruiter says that this is all AI or it is you? So how is it?
So I want you to use AI and build faster. That's not at all a problem. But however, you need to explain me the code. What are the every decision has a drawback. Like if you suppose like authentication, right? Why you choose email or a password over OTP? See, this is a trade-off. If you're building an application based on the end user, suppose if you think like your users are mostly going to be in a web app, right, in a mobile, so OTP is the best way of logging in. So that's a trade-off. And mostly if your people are going to be in like, sitting in offices and mostly going to use email or password. I'm just giving a hypothetical example. So this is a trade-off. It's not good or bad. Both are good. At the same time, both are bad if you choose it wrong. So choose something, and if you could explain me properly why you choose that, and once you choose that, the code written by it, if you are able to explain it like this is what I've done because of this decision, fair. That's not a problem.
Thank you, sir.
Any questions?
Sir, you told understanding the systems in the sense to understand the block diagrams behind that working, or what is that, sir? Understanding.
Sorry?
Understanding the systems.
System design is a like kind of a concept typically once, you know, before we building something, we design like what the database we're gonna be using, and what's the backend stack, what's the backend it is going to be, how the user is going to interact, and how the user is going to authenticate, whether any third-party services you want to use, right? Is one database enough for multiple database you would need? Not the functionality. I would say it's a high-level design. That's what we call it, like typically. So once you kind of decide that, then you build the features on top of it, right? Yeah.
Thank you.
So that's very important. Yeah. Okay. I guess no questions. So yeah.
Excuse me, sir. I have a doubt.
Yes.
Good morning, sir. I'm Kashif from second year. And to be honest, I have a very simple doubt and I'm not able to solve this. Right now, I'm a problem solver. I love solving problems. And I focus on the crux part present in the problem and then focus on the solution. That's how my approach is.
Actually, voice is much clear. Can you just keep it?
Now is it clear?
Yeah, yeah.
So now, like, I just understood what was, like, what the PPT was trying to explain, which is basically saying that the code is free, but the thinking is not. I'm not able to understand how can I adapt myself to this particular, era, or like how can I adapt myself? So I just need some guidance, and how as a problem solver can I evolve?
Sure. So forget code. Like, typically, like, you imagine like you have a software team who can build it for you. Just imagine in that way, right? So, but still you need to get a lot of clarity on the problem, what you're trying to solve, firstly. Who the end user is, and how you're going to release it. I mean, how they're going to use it, how many people are going to use it, at least at the certain stage where are you right now. After that, like, you're going to be dividing those into smaller chunks, like, smaller problems. How you would just imagine, like, you have a software engineering team, you need to hand over something to them, you need to explain to them. Okay. If you take that into consideration, right, you yourself would be like, answerable to yourself that, okay, fine, now team might not be able to, if I tell the software team to build some Netflix clone, they're not gonna build something like that. So you need to break them down into, okay, fine, first, what is the first important feature you would need, the main important feature in any application, the core problem. You can build the total application around it, but however, if you try to solve the core problem in a minimum possible way in very much less time. So you try to break them down into that problem, again into smaller sub problems, and take one after the other. So it's a sequential order once you're building an application, right? I mean, you create a repository, you try to have a boilerplate code, and the first, typically, how you connect to these systems, database, then later coming back to authentication, like, that's the first thing. Then later, once authentication is done, mostly like you can build any feature parallelly, right? So this is an order of execution. So, and each order, each piece is a problem for you. Like, that's how you sub problem, you can say. Then if you kind of divide them into that granular level, granular way, you can just kind of give each piece to AI and it will solve it for you. That's how it is. But if you just tell it like, build this application for me, that's not going to work. You don't know what exactly the feature it is going to implement, what are the assumptions it made. You don't know that. So if you kind of divide this, if you have that clarity in your head, like, this is how I need to solve the problem, And giving these clear instructions will also make AI to hallucinate less, for that matter. Because you have a clear definition of what exactly you're going to build. And they are really good at creating these plans for each smaller chunk, small problem. So they will understand the code base first. They'll try to, explain the changes, what it is going to make, what files it is going to touch. You review it again. Once the plan is like kind of finalized, then boom, it can go and get the work done faster. You don't need to again see that. But till this plan phase, breaking them down to plan phase is what you would definitely need, and you need to have that clarity in your head.
I think reviewing is also important, I guess.
Sorry?
Reviewing. I mean, AI will make the plan and all of that. As a software engineer or as a
Yes.
particular
Yes.
person in the company, we need to review it.
Review as in if you're able to understand the code, then fair. You
Yeah.
would definitely, see, if during the plan phase, if you kind of give these edge cases, the kind of, user stories, like these are the end users and these are the things you need to test around. AI will also make sure the test passes. But however, you need to understand what are the edge cases. And after that, you need to, if you're able to understand the code, right, typically you can even find out the bugs there itself. You need to typically understand the code, what is written by AI. And if it is building a total Netflix clone for you, you're not going to understand the total code base in one go, right? That's the reason you need to divide these problems into smaller chunks so that it generates ample amount of code so that you can understand. That's the only thing you need to make sure before giving it over to AI.
So debugging skills are very much important in one way.
Debugging also, in a way, it can do. It if you tell it as a problem, if end of the day, how you do the debugging? You find an issue, right? So if you find an issue, you kind of give it to it, and you just need to explain probably this is where you might need to go and fix. It will go and it can do the debugging. Even for that matter, for the production logs also, it can even get the logs from AWS or Google, understand the logs, and it can give a fix. It can do that as well.
I think critical thinking is not going away.
It is not. That is what the more important need of the hour, actually.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir. Good
Yeah.
morning. I am Madhusudan. I'm third year. So basically, as we discussed, what is the current recruiters are looking for is the ability to explain what they have done or explain what the high-level design from the system design to what are the trade-offs and throughout their entire project life cycle. That's if they could put forward all of this, then obviously it means they had a thought process and they worked towards it. That's what the recruiters are willing to look forward for. My question and worry is that this scenario comes into the picture after a set of a pre-screening test, or when a recruiter and qualifies a resume round, let's say. So I'm just wondering, is there anything specific in the pre-screening test or the resume rounds which the recruiters like yourself are looking, which could help us to differentiate our own resumes from making this entire just as a generic project summaries to something to make them show that actually worked on these different projects, like any specific set of
I got not in a way, but at least I got what exactly you're trying to say. You want to know how recruiters would approach to your CVs, for that matter, right? So before that, one more thing, how you can make yourself powerful enough so that recruiters come to you, right? So whatever you mention in the CV, okay, I'll tell how typically I would do, right? So the screening, I kind of give my recruiters, these are the things I would notice in a CV. And typically you would mention the keywords, even if you don't know the terminology, even if you don't know the application, you would just put the keywords so that it matches, in the screening. That's what you would feel by the recruiters, right? So that happens. So coming back to the way how we do it, after that, first thing is like be honest to yourself first. Whatever you mention in the CV, be honest to yourself rather than the other outside people comes later in the second part. So whatever you're mentioning, do you even know that? Like, or else it's just like a project which college people might have told you to keep it, or else your friend might have made it and you forked it. You don't know what exactly inside it and you try to fake it. So, and try to build something, try to showcase it in LinkedIn or somewhere that yes, this is what I have built. This is a kind of working prototype and this is how it is functioning. People will definitely come to you rather than you going to them. The reason do not have any confidence is because you haven't built anything. If you build something from scratch, you will definitely have that confidence within you. You don't need to worry about like people come to you and why my CV is not being picked and all these things, because you're a fresher, right? I mean, we won't be expecting much from you, but at least I would be expecting that honesty from your CV. So that's very important aspect, I would say, going forward for the colleges. And being in a third year, like now you have ample time, I believe. Like by the time of fourth year, try to build something and deploy it. Once you kind of build and deploy it, that's you cannot get that much of the learning. How much you get? Typically, you might not even get in your first year of work experience as well. So that is very important. Okay, and coming back to, I would go typically in your last experience or the project, whatever you mentioned in CSE. I'll go deep down. I'll definitely try to ask you the trade-offs, whatever, why you choose that. So that's my way of doing the interview, however, but everybody's would be different. And yeah, so if you are honestly done your project by yourself, then definitely you would be explaining it proper way, right? Yeah.
Okay.
So
Thank you, sir.
that's the thing. Yeah. Oh yeah, one important aspect I forgot to say. So I want to help you guys in upskilling yourself in this AI world. However, we kind of created a boot camp. Probably it is still in testing phase, and so we would let you build a total application, the backend application using OpenAI Codex. Be ready for that. Like if once we kind of certified, then probably we will come back and please have your OpenAI subscriptions, and we can build an application starting from end to end. So I kind of created this skill that it try to explain you the code, what exactly it is writing, and if you don't know the topic, it won't leave you unless you understand the topic and explain it back. So it will stick to that topic till you reach it, and it thinks that you understood the topic. It won't go to the next topic. So that's the kind of skill we kind of designed. And yeah, I hope it helps each of you. And that one, if that works out, then yeah, I'll also help you to create more boot camps, like building a LangChain, LangGraph agent for that matter. Like, that can also help. We'll figure it out. But yeah, I mean, if whoever interested, better get an OpenAI subscription for you. Yeah, it will help. I hope no questions.
Hope it was interesting for all the students. So you have not met our alumni, yes? You know, Sujit, come. This is one of very close friend, means very close batch of ours. All the faculties love this Y20 batch, and everybody will say yes. He's Sujit Reddy, and data science my own specialization people, and they have done great projects, all well and good. This boy has shown that after leaving the campus also he can switch to Mang, yes? So he's in Apple right now. And a very sweet person, if you ping him on LinkedIn, he'll reply. He's a good guy. You can ping him. Please follow him. Then comes Ashish. Come. An introvert from our batch. Yes. He's working in Amazon. You can approach him also anytime. Just ping them on LinkedIn, not on number or WhatsApp or anything. Okay? Ping them the message. They'll reply to you. They'll help you. If you need anything, let us know also. We can also contact them. Don't spam them. Yeah? Please don't spam them. They're coming because of the personal connection that we have. And Ravi sir had a great session. Thank you, Ravi sir, for the session. Thank you very much. Now I request Malaysia to come and have some kind words here.
Good morning, all. Dr. Arpita Gupta, HOD, Department of Computer Science Engineering. And today's guest, Ravi Garu from CAW, and our alumni, Suchit, and who got a placement in Apple, right, of 75 lakhs package. It's a very proud moment for us. And Ashish, he got a good placement in Amazon, right? So this is the showcase of our students' performance. And thank you for Ravi Garu in giving over your insights on codex, how to write the code, how to get the code without any efforts. Okay, of course some efforts will be there. See, if we are dependent on codex, it's not correct, but it will help you a lot. Again, we need to verify whether the code written is correct or wrong. Okay, thank you, sir, for coming here and for giving your valuable insights. So I request from KLH Aziznagar campus, please visit our campus, enlighten our students, and if you see any good performance from our organization, please take them and train them in Codex, AI applications. And Love for AI is a two-day event under the guidance of Dynamic HOD, Dr. Arpita Garu, and her team has done a wonderful job. I request Madam Arpita Garu and her team to organize such type of events very rigorously. Okay, thank you for giving me this opportunity.
So our alumni Sujit wants to talk. Very rarely he talks. So it's an honor for us.
I don't know how to introduce, but I am Sujit. I don't know how many of you know me. Can I get? Can you raise hands who know me? Actually, who actually know? Oh, very few. Okay. Faculty knows me. Few of the students, but I am an introvert. Actually an introvert. So, but still, I am getting Instagram, LinkedIn notifications daily. Someone from you or other campuses messaging me. So, I'm here today. If you have any questions for me, you can. I see so many students already asked questions. You can ask me as well now, if you have any. Yes. Somewhere you can find chocolate. I'll be there. Yeah. Okay. I don't think you guys have any questions for me right now. Let me tell a short story. I'll come up with a short story, which I came up right now. So, okay, bear with me. I did not prepare for this. Okay. So, last year, around 1.5 years back, I was here where you guys are sitting. So, I'm right now here speaking. I don't know what to speak, but so in my third year, I think at last month of third year, I got placed at CAW Studios. What is the CAW Studios? This is something related to VFX, or I don't know. College also gave me something. This is related to VFX and everything. So I went. I went and searched on LinkedIn. So this is entirely related to tech, but our college said that is related to VFX. What is VFX in this? So when I joined, it is completely different. There is nothing related to movies or VFX or anything. So I joined there. My mentor was Ravi Kiran, so whom you all met, and the person who spoke here right now. So I was there for around 1 year. Trust me, guys, learning or working in a startup gives you very much exposure than working in an MNC or a Mac company or I don't know. So working in a startup is not a bad thing. The amount of learning, the options that you can explore are too many in startups. So I worked under guidance of Ravi Kiran. So I can give him the credit for where I'm here right now. Where? Okay. So from in my 1 year of internship, I've started as a QA, SDET. So, but I'm not restricted to that. I have an option to raise the bugs, fix the bugs, deploy it, work on pipelines and everything. I had that freedom. You won't get that freedom in MNCs. You only get that freedom in startups. So after 1 year working there, I got an opportunity from Amazon. I went to Amazon, where I don't have any option. I need to work on whatever they give or whatever they ask me to. So after 6 months, I thought this is not right. This is not right. I need to move somewhere. I don't need to work whatever they are telling me to. I got an opportunity from Apple. Apple asked me. So I joined Apple. Right now I'm building tools, applications, leading projects. So you all use iPhones. I am one of the person who is responsible for putting it in the Apple Store and everywhere. So this is where I am right now. Yeah. Any more questions? Do you guys have any questions? Come on, guys. I'm not here to perform. I'm not a rock star. Come on, come on. One question.
Hi, bro.
Hello.
One good thing. Can you turn off the mic, else the echo will come? I think the biggest advantage right now, not only for me, for all of us, is that you're from this particular room, right? I mean, the only question that I have is the difference between you and me, right? You're working, I mean, you're worked in a startup, you're currently in Apple, right? And that's great. But I'm a student who will be a fresher one fine day and who will be proficient using a technology. Then what is the difference between you and me? Because I'm having the skills which will make me calibered and which will make me employed. Like employable, but there is another person who is already employed. Then what is the difference? What is the gap?
So, a good question. So, what is the main difference? I'll first answer that. So, you guys have experience on different skills. So, you know what is MongoDB, what is MySQL, what is Postgres, what is Node.js, what is React, and everything. You know that, I know that, but you don't know how that is used in a production level. Because I've been there for last 1 year or 2 years or 3 years. Whatever my experience is, I've been there in the industry. So I know everything that is working in the, so trust me, production level stuff and machine level stuff is completely different. So you need to understand your customers to deploy anything or use any stack. So for example, let's start with DB. You guys know, everyone know DB. MySQL or NoSQL, SQL or NoSQL. So when do you guys use SQL and when do you guys use NoSQL? Any idea about that? So there comes the experience. So when you have a large scale application, you can't completely rely on a Postgres or MySQL system. So you need to switch to NoSQL system. So that depends on the system design that you have, the design thinking and the system design that you need to have. So that you will gain through experience. So, so what we are trying to do is to get you that experience, that exposure. We are building a boot camp. I think Ravi mentioned that we are building a boot camp. So where in that boot camp we have something around 10 modules. In that 10 modules, starting from first module, where you will be introduced to a stream. We have 2 streams in that. So someone could be proficient in Java or JavaScript or Python. So we are not relying on any coding language or anything. You guys need to know any coding language so that you can move on or forward to this boot camp. So in this boot camp, we have a Python and JavaScript version, Node.js and Python version. So if you are going with Python, you will be using the same application, same track and everything. But the coding language would be different, but the logic would be the same. So in that first module, we will be explaining what are the APIs, what are the REST APIs, how are the APIs designed actually, how is the, in a production level, how will the health check happen? How will the health check happen? So what if an API fails in the production? So it is running in my local, but it may fail in the production. Maybe why? How do we check that if that fail in the production? You guys need to have that exposure because everyone knows this coding, everyone knows, we have something around 600 students in our 1 year curve. So we have, right now like that, we have something around 100 colleges in our, we don't have that many jobs or we don't need that many students. So what happens is, AI is not eating jobs. People who don't use AI are losing their jobs. So with this bootcamp, we want to give the system design exposure to the students so that they can gain the knowledge how everything runs in a production. So with this, we start with API level, ENV level, and Docker deployment, and production level deployment. And we came up with a project called URL shortener. So we have a lengthy URLs, but we will be shortening the URLs with Bitly. So right now we came up with that one. In this bootcamp, we are starting with that project. So you will be working on that project. You will be building that with help of AI. You won't be coding. You will give the instructions. You need to know what to use, where to use, how to use. That is what we want to give you the proficiency. Future is not writing code, it is giving instructions. It is giving instruction, not the commands. Command is something that you say something that is going to work. So instructions are something that you are going to say something that's going to fail, that's going to think, and that's going to fail, that's going to break, and again that is going to fix and that is going to work. So that is called instruction. So yeah.
So yeah, that's it. That's all I have to ask. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sujit, for speaking so much for the first time. Not even in his assignment, he has spoken so much. Yeah? Okay. So now, our speakers.
I now request Arpita ma'am and Mallesh sir to felicitate Ravi Kiran sir and Nitish sir. Nit-
Your good name? Nitish. He is Nitish from Triple IT Hyderabad. So we'll give a short demo of the bootcamp that we want to build. You guys can see it on the screen.
Make it faster. The next panel ready. One person waiting. Okay.
So guys, this is a boot camp. This is typically, how many of you know skills like cloud code skills here? Anybody? You heard about cloud code skills? Okay, no, that's fine. ఇది ఇంకేదో షాప్ పెట్టుకోవచ్చు ఇది వచ్చినప్పుడు అలా చేస్తే ఓకేనా ల్యాప్టాప్ రాదు ల్యాప్టాప్ వైర్ వస్తుంది అక్కడ
One of you talk.
పోయింది వైర్ పోయింది కాదు ఇది ఐ మీన్ కనెక్షన్ పోయింది కనెక్షన్ సో how many of you all use at least cloud code, anybody, right? And do you have idea about skills? There are a lot of things happening around skills. Skills are like set of instructions, the best practices typically you would say, with some scripts to manage that. Suppose like if I want to build a React application, right? So what is the best practices for building a React application is injected as a prompt with some set of, maybe a CLI tool or app, some scripts. So that put together is considered as a skill. So what I kind of created here is a skill which helps you to build a URL shortener application from scratch and deploy it. Along the journey, it also explains the fundamentals and the topics, typically like starting from Git for that matter. See how CI/CD pipeline works, how the deployment happens, and what are the things typically we take care while building a backend application, like environment variables, how we use it. So all these things are put together as a skill, and all you need is a codex agent, and just one single command, it starts it and it try to initialize and to make the environment ready by itself. And over the period of time, it explains what exactly the topic about, and also it tries to judge you whether you know the topic or not, and it won't proceed further until and unless you explain it back to that in a certain way that you know the topic. So start messages. So this is so typically to invoke a skill in VS Code, it's a VS Code extension, the codex extension, and all you have to do is like that. The $bootcamp is a command, and from where it does check whether the Git is installed. If you are using a Node.js, Nest.js, I mean, it has two tracks. One is to build with Python, and the other is with TypeScript. So it checks the Node.js and Docker for that matter to deploy it. I mean, how many of you all know Docker at least used? Okay, perfect. At least fair of you. So yeah, it does also explain like how to use Docker and deploy it, test it locally. Then later you can deploy it in any other way. And so yeah, it's going to take at least 5 to 6 hours of your time, because it's lengthy, and it also judges you based on your understanding. If you're not able to understand a topic, feel free to ask it again till the time you understand the topic. Only then it will proceed further, because you have to explain it back. So the system design, what I was talking about earlier, this is what it tried to get you into that level. So once you do this efficiently without copying, I mean, without taking any shortcuts, I'm sure like you would have that clarity of building a backend application by yourself. Any questions? Yeah, Mike, please.
So you've mentioned something known as a codex skill.
Yes.
So is that what exactly is that? Is that a documentation detailing the entire steps of how exactly to build this project, or?
So skill is typically a set of instructions,
Okay.
which will be injected as a prompt into the
Okay.
right. So suppose so every skill has some sort of this is a metadata, right?
Okay.
So whenever you kind of initiate an agent, this metadata will be injected as part of system prompt for even for Cloud Code or Codex for that matter. So you can have like multiple, maybe tens and hundreds of skills, but it will read the skill based on your need, like, based on the thing, what exactly you're trying to build. You might have a React skill, but however, it won't directly inject everything on the first go. So based on the prompt, if you are trying to build a feature around React, then it try to go back and read the skill. Now it knows what are the best practices mentioned in the skill. Then based on that best practices, it goes and implement. So typically, the skill is it is a set of instructions. So I thought like it would be better to design a skill for you, so that agent also follow the instructions how I want you to learn. Nothing specific, nothing. It is like I have some thought on how to teach these things, and that's the reason I put it into skill. The way it is typically like how I would have taught you guys. That's been injected into skill, nothing else here.
So skill is basically like something like a system prompt.
Not system prompt. I mean, a piece of it would be injected into the system prompt,
Okay.
the metadata. However, based on the need, it can read those instructions in runtime.
Okay.
Based on the need, it reads that file. Now the instructions, whatever there in the file, it goes as part of context. The output, the next output, whatever you get it from the agent, then it will be based on the instructions it read.
Thank you.
Any more? Okay, so probably end of this month, we might come back again and kind of conduct on it. But feel free to, a ChatGPT subscription would be better here. Don't go with API credit. It's not going to be sufficient for you. So better to have, at least to start with the Go. I think it's charges somewhere around like 300 to 400 rupees. I don't that much. Is it free? Free? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So have the subscription, and during the process, it is designed to build the code, build the application for you, and also explain the code and the topics around it. So if you still don't understand, feel free to ask it again and again until you get the topic. If you still don't get it, I suggest maybe you can have a ChatGPT web app separately, and you can even research more on that topics. But however, I suggest you to force your agent to get to the level of your understanding so that it does know the next question. Based on that, it will analyze and adapt to it the way exactly the understanding is all about. Right? So yeah, that's the thing. Let me know if any questions and
Okay. So this is our boot camp. So if you see there, we have a set of questions coming from the AI. It is giving you a set of questions. If you are answering that questions, it will be moving to the next module. If you are so it will be providing you going to the next module, or if you are giving the wrong answers, or if you say you don't know or you won't say the answer, where I have done that rare. So it will give you the explanation what the answer for that question is. So through question and answers and coding, live coding, you will be learning stuff. So this is how our bootcamp is designed. So we will float a Google form and share it with someone of your faculty, and interested students can give you a name. We will be adding to our GitHub repo. So you need to clone that repo and use a Codex subscription, and you can access our bootcamp. So we will float a Google form and ask you guys who are interested, you can register for this. Yep. Yeah, so yeah, I think we are out of time. So we'll provide you instructions through any of our channels. Yep, okay. Bye, guys. You are happy to say bye to me.
I request everyone to please remain seated.
I request everyone to remain seated, please, guys. కార్తికేయ కొంచెం కర్వీగా పెట్టమని. I request everyone to please be calm.
about to start. So we now move forward with one of the most important segment for Love for AI 2026. This is not a keynote, this is not a presentation, this is a conversation, a very necessary one. Artificial intelligence is no longer experimental. It is operational, it is deployed, it is influencing at a scale. So the question is what AI can do. The real question is what should AI be allowed to do. To guide this discussion, we have someone who understands both depth and direction. It is now my privilege to call Dr. Abhishek Sir onto the dais. Now I would like to introduce you to the panel members of today's discussion, starting with Aditya Atluri. He is co-founder of Zensis AI. It is a mental wellness platform. Sir expertises in strategy, innovation, entrepreneurship, startup foundation, venture capital. Next, we move on to Sahar Banu ma'am, a senior DevOps specialist at Equisoft. She is an AWS cloud engineer and DevOps expert with 12 plus years of experience. I now would like to call Hemant Reddy sir, founder and CEO of Amit Capital. He's a founder and a VC firm funding seeds and series founder and CTO at Data Solutions. I now move forward with Ranjit Raj Vasim sir, who is a platform engineer and AI cloud native solutions. He is also an ex-employee of IBM and Fairserve. I'd now like to move forward with Abhishek sir to take over the stage. Yes, sir.
A very good morning to everyone, my respected colleagues, my students, and all the respected panel members. I welcome you to this session, which is actually one of the most interesting sessions that we are going to have. And this has been going on for the last 2 days, but people have been looking forward to this session particularly. So I hope we are going to have a stimulating discussion on the ethics, on the topic of AI and ethics. And we have our esteemed guests. I will have some questions to all of them, but I will try to begin with a common question, which I request all of them to address and respond to. So we have spent the last decade asking, is it possible? Today we start asking, is it right? Behind every algorithm is a human bias. Behind every automated solution is a displaced worker. And behind every smart system, there is a massive ethical debt. In the time it takes me to utter these sentences, the AI has already made millions of decisions for us. I think what we buy, what we hire, who we hire, and how we feel. So we have the builders. Sir, we can start with.
Thanks, Mr. Abhishek, and thanks everyone for having us here. I'm Aditya, as mentioned, and I'm a co-founder at Zensis AI. It's a mental wellness application, and what we are trying to do at our organization is we want to understand how AI can be embedded and used to understand ourselves. You know, for example, we know about ourselves, the physicality, our blood reports, all of them, you know what you are, but at mental level, we don't know. what are our coping mechanisms, what are our personality styles, what are our emotional states, what are our stresses, so on and so forth. So for that, we realized, how can we use the existing technology, for example, AI, to be embedded into it. And since AI is being used by one and all across different work streams, how can we make it more integrable and equitable? So that's how the whole idea started. And what we are trying to do in our organization is we try to use AI tools to simplify things, not to overcomplicate things, and how to add value at each and every decision point. Do we need to use AI or not at a more conscious level? So once we started embedding all these practices, we tried to realize that it percolated across the organization, that people started to think, not just use AI tools. So on that way, on that lines, we have embedded AI usage across the organization, but at the same time, we have also made a mandatory, not a mandatory check, but also a cognizant, checklist that, okay, why are we using it in the first place? So to answer that question at each and every decision point is helping people to, use it in a fair manner. So that's where we are currently. I don't want to take much time, probably pass it on to my next colleague.
Thanks for asking. So working as a platform engineer, we build developer tools for all developers in our company. So every developer now wants to use AI for coding, writing unit tests, documenting, pretty much everything. In the initial days, the popular way to use AI was, to use API keys from OpenAI or, or the companies. But the problem is now the issue of trust. So the company says that we won't, train our models on your company's data or code, but there is no verifiability because so what we as a platform engineer will lean towards, AI models or LLMs. We want our developers to benefit from the advancements of AI. At the same time, we don't want, the trust to be broken. So what we lean towards choosing AI models that where we can verify instead of just going with the vendor's word. And to verify that, we need open source AI models. So when we build AI integrated tools into our company, we audit all options, and especially when we say open source models, it's not just open weights. We also look into the hyperparameters that have been used to train the model, and the code, everything. If it is open, we can audit in a better way, and ensure that we can also, when we're building that, we also have to, convince people in a higher order company, so that we can build robust tools and balance the trade-off. Where developers get, chance to use AI tools and increase productivity. At the same time, the higher officials and management can also be assured that no IP infringement is happening in the company.
Morning, everyone. So basically, I am a senior DevOps engineer. I work for Microsoft at the moment. Currently at Microsoft, we do not extensively use AI, but then we are in the phase of, developing use cases. But, for just with the coding wise or if any, whatever the tools we have, we use Claude, we use Cursor, it helps us for coding and all that purposes. But coming to the agentic part to make it autonomous, we are in the testing phase where we do some use cases. For example, I know Microsoft is basically an insurance company. And the use cases what we've built so far is, for example, an application comes in, a customer wants to have an insurance policy. And an application comes in and basically evaluate if the information or the order which is placed is all the information, whatever is placed is correct without any manual effort. But I'm also telling the customer that these are the things. For example, you have to get this scan done or any other things is required. It lets that. So that is basically the model we are trying to build, the use case we are having. But coming to the ethics part, the rules, the guardrails, I don't think at this moment that we are kind of thinking in terms of that, because it is just, we are at a phase where we are just creating use cases and we're developing that. But then again, the responsibility of security team wherein all these things comes in. So that's what it is, I would say, at least for Microsoft. But then before Microsoft, I worked with AWS, so I think that's something very broad, way of, I could say, that using it extensively in every way. They could for recommendations, basically to tell what product or service is good for a customer. So they've been using it extensively in that cases, and also within the knowledge base internally to help employees get better documentations or get like anything it could be the hiring. I think we all know that Amazon had this hiring tool which they had to scrape it because it had a lot of bias in it unintentionally. So yes, I think these are the things that we've been following so far. But I've also worked for Capable India, which is like as a freelancer. So they have recently developed an agentic AI system, which is basically to scan a business card and get the information directly in your spreadsheet. Rather than having so many business cards all over everywhere, because we don't keep track of the business cards and you lose opportunities probably. And that's why what we've designed is to have scan the business card, get the information, whatever is important. For example, an email and the like designation, whatever they're doing, and also the phone number. And those details are sent to us in a spreadsheet, and then also an automated mail gets sent to the person, whomever we've met, right? So that's something we've already built, and considering this, there's no much risk of getting anything wrong here, or if there's anything we will get to know because we are in the starting phase. We build it. We are kind of selling this service, but at least for now, I don't think there is any consideration of the ethics was done. So yeah, thank you.
Yes. Hi guys. So in each company, we use AI as very different modes. Let's say my first start, which is a data solutions and security platform company. We use AI as a security visionary, where we see how cybersecurity is being implemented in security agendas for AI. So we integrated, we started AI security services, and we serve for our clients in order to protect where the challenges to face for AI. And that's where the AI security comes for data solutions. And when it comes to other companies, right, like Shifty is a product-based company, and for that we use AI just for customer interactions, not for anything else. So just addressing the customer basic needs, giving them warm information, allowing them to give the first set of answers when they're asked. So that's the only interaction that we try to produce for Shifty for AI. And when it comes to other technologies, AI in developing, we use how we can reduce the time frame. And meaning that I want my developers to work less. And when it is available in the internet, I don't want them to rub their heads finding out that I should make this happen. Try this question, if I'm not using it in AI, what's the point of you writing it? So I want you to reduce your efforts. I want to scrape everything what is available in the internet. I want you to dig down. So that's where we allow our developers to make utilize of AI and find it and question it and use it resourcefully. So all those different sets, different teams, different products, projects use different ways of AI. And all those have one thing in common, is how it can be served better and how it can be always reduce the efficiency and how much it still makes it as a human interaction, right? I do not want a bot answering just like a bot. I want it to be answered more like a human. So we use AI in different sets, the different levels. So on that stages, it's an everyday that we try to check for what better we can do. So it's an everyday research for us. For any startup, it's still the same game that finding out, researching more and all those things. Yeah, that's the way we use.
So as I understood, and at this point I'm interested to ask one question. So as you said, you are generally and mostly using AI to augment the human task process, right? That's to aid the human beings. Right? So is there any possibility that in the future, when you use it on a larger scale, it will eliminate the human workforce itself, or what are your considerations there? Like, will you let that happen, or what are your ethical considerations here? Is what I mean to say.
When building an organization, my only goal was to be more the way I am. When it comes to principles, I want my companies to be in that level of principles. So one thing we do not want them to be like wholly AI operating company, like we do not humans and all. Even though we use 80% of AI in the future, let's say my company is proposed, but I still want people behind it to stop it, test it, check it, and maintain it in that way, because that's where it is evaluated, that's where it is organized. So that's where I can rely on person. And I'm not a fan of building an organization which is like, multi-million, but without no humans, no employees working. No, not in that fashion. But I'll be happy with the red multi-millions, but with no humans.
You would like to keep the human intervention factor intact.
Definitely. Because those are the ones who, we are the ones who we try to create this. And we can do much more. AI is just this decade, let's say. But what we are producing next decade, we are not sure. So we still want humans, right, in our organization, because that's where we are going forward. What level can be automated? Yes, that's where I question. I produce my developers in that fashion. What can be developed? What can be reduced? Use it. Extremely, scrape it. I don't know. I want you to sit happy and let the system work and but I want you to monitor or myself in the system. That's when we kind of stop, pause, restart, reset. All those things should happen.
You are not letting AI go completely unchecked. So there should be there will be an intervention from the human beings, and they will regulate how AI works.
Yeah, I'm not letting it, and I would not let it.
So you are doing it for all sorts of mechanical, repetitive, tedious sorts of job which AI can actually do, and it can be done.
Yeah, whatever. Yes, that's you cannot say that I'm doing it, because that's what my first answer was. It's like this is what we can do on a daily basis. So right now, you can have sitting here, but my team would be screaming what we can do better. So like that. So every day it's what we can do better of AI and what it can be utilized in. Just the way.
You get a better understanding as you proceed with it.
Yes, this decade is all of researching more and getting better.
So, sir, there is the next question for you as you run a mental wellness platform. So the question is, if an AI therapist gives harmful advice and a user smiles emotionally, who is responsible? Should AI ever replace human therapists in mental health and sleep?
Honestly, AI used to understand certain behaviors and to capture certain information that is
freely available. Like historical data, historical models. So what we are currently trying to build is a system where the AI does and within terminal it also trying to build. So what happens is, when we try to only use AI in the entire sphere of mental wellness, we are removing the element of human touch. When it comes to mental wellness or mental state, we are all social beings. What is social? You meet with people like friends. I met all of you for the first time here, and I feel that overwhelming joy that I'm meeting something, learning something. The same thing applies to our mental state. And if anybody says that I'm getting a mental wellness AI solution, he should be kidding. And I'm not saying that because as long as we are social beings, and that's the rest of our existence, it is not possible. Wherein the majority of it is still related to answer therapists. That's what we are trying to do. And we are using AI tools only to capture the historical data and analyze certain patterns and give insights to those patterns and that assist these therapists to give optimal roadmap for therapy or therapy.
So another question, it might not be related to your organization research, but the field that you are working in right now, mental wellness. So how ethical is it it is to monetize on human vulnerability or human emotional vulnerability?
Okay, I'd like to ask the question in a different way, which is it when we go to our hospital or doctor in a crisis, are we getting treatment for free? Buying hospitals? Not. So here we are trying to create an ecosystem, to help people who are not extreme needs. We are not there yet. Currently we are trying to solve a problem where most of us are not aware of. Like I might be going through some sort of stress or anxiety in a way that I might not be understanding or I might not know. And how often do we come across this, hey Aditya, I think that you might be going through something. No, not knowing what I'm going through, but looking at my demeanor or my behavioral patterns. So more often than not, it's our colleagues or friends who facilitate those things. And they tell me that we need some help. And what is that help? Even I don't know. So I am trying to understand myself using these tools. And I'm currently not monetizing it, but my monetizing model is again through a therapist. I'm facilitating the skill, the surface of therapy, like identifying certain behavioral patterns, and then directly to a therapist or a counselor.
Got your point. So I will move on to the next So being a Nokia platform manager, would you allow AI to autonomously control telecom infrastructure?
No.
No.
Simply no. Because I don't directly be there, but the question, simple no. But I will elaborate on it. I'm sure many of you have seen news about a thing called open cloud. Open cloud is being viral last week, where people started having their own open cloud instances. Now we have a dedicated social media network for all the open cloud bots. And we've seen very viral posts about bots talking to each other and they talking about avoiding English because there are no humans. It should be bot to bot language. And there are also many fear-mongering posts and comments about are bots planning to super overpower humans or they want to be complicated of humans. See, when you have an environment with such discussions, I would like to take a step back and start telling that when we're talking about AI models and different solutions, fundamental thing with no debate everyone was that no AI model is good. No LLM is neutral. All of these carry the values of creators, right? So, take the examples of mental health. Imagine, fintech or different companies or people who are participating in hackathon. I would like to give some local examples. I think all the students are now participating in hackathon. Okay. And the participating in today hackathon and day one they have built some idea and they're planning to go to day two. But what if someone escapes with the idea? Who have better compute, who have better engineering team, can build a better idea before the student have built it. Because students who are in second and third year, they're just understanding how the world works. They're trying to understand how the market works. And by the time now you have a different level playing field, by the time the plan to go to take it to a level of startup, maybe in 3 months or 6 months, someone might just scrape it and build a better convert. So when you mean the word, it's very ambiguous word. But we as a society, we should very sure which come with guardrails. What is being scraped? And that's why we have to come up with, when some content is being uploaded in internet. So we should come with content that protects. When we protect not like a typical copyright, but we need to come up with better solutions, better popular solutions that gives better attribution to the people who get the issue one, visibility and all stuff. And so we as society should also come up with proper governing bodies and auditing bodies where we have to come with checks and balances. Not telling it should be completely administered, but it should be properly organized. And the second thing, when we're trying to build solutions in fintech, mental health, agri-tech, or edtech, for example, most of the people might be building solutions for Indian requirements. So they want to build a mental health solution for Indians, but the AI model being used is, developed and trained by engineers sitting in San Francisco, trained on data of Americans. So some engineering student might say that I'm being too much of stressed out. I have less CTC and my relatives are specializing in what can I do. And the AI solution will come up with the data sets that will be trained on, as per the American Psychology Society standards or the solutions predominantly used in the American society or European society. It might say that set boundaries, have some quiet time, go to Alps. If students try to follow that, now they realize this thing that he only got less CPC. If you follow that, now they think that it's gone mad. Right. The sensibilities are different for different societies. In American society, when you you have mental distress. Being an individual society, it has its own set of solutions. When it comes to societies like India, we have solutions like we want to spend more socialization. We would recommend people to spend have a better time with friends and family. Right. So we need to understand this gap. And it's important that 2026, the decisions have been grown up. 2 years before, all we were discussing is, can we build something like this? But thanks to all the open source LLMs and open source contributions, now we're thinking about how efficiently we can do it now, and how better we can localize it to our societies. Even if you're building a solution for fintech, you can give a prompt and give all the requirements, but the immediate solution you can come up with a debit card or credit card payment. How many Indians have credit cards? Maybe less than 10% or something. Indian population have credit cards. Someone might tell that you have to do the prompt, you have to tell about, you have to use UPI and everything. But does these AI models have enough training data, like, to understand the UPI protocols, like they have, more context on how credit cards and debit card works? Does the LLM models which have been trained in, mostly San Francisco, does it understand if someone is trying to build a hackathon, if they're trying to build a solution for Indian society, does it understand how the commerce work here? Does it understand the Udar system or Udra in Indian Kirana stores? So it's a very broad discussion. I would like other speakers to also talk about this. When it comes to also autonomy, it's not we can't give autonomy to these things as of today. But we have to use AI models as co-pilots. So to augment our work, not to replace someone,
but to work simultaneously, coexist together.
Yeah. And the last part I would like to tell is, historically, whenever there is a technological advancements, it always there's a repeat cycle of fear mongering happens that does is replace humans. But when you read history, all the timelines, if you read different things, what we understand is the impact is decided by who is controlling and navigating the technology. So, who holds the power? So AI is a new advancement. There's a section of society who is, desperate about profit maximization, and if they think that replacing humans with AI would increase the profit maximization, do that. But we as a society largely we have this. But AI as a technology, is neutral. It matters who controls it. And we as a society shouldn't be feared about AI. We have to use AI, but the control should be with the largest set of people. And yes. Within humans, largest set of people, not some very minority corporations who just bother about profit maximization.
Thank you. Question to you is, so infrastructure providers charge startups high premiums for secure AI hosting and then skill profits. So who is exploiting whom here? Is it large infrastructure giants or the founders?
Can you repeat your question?
So we often see that infrastructure providers charge startups high premiums for secure AI hosting and then scale profits from them. So question is, who is benefiting from whom? Who is actually benefiting here? Or who is exploiting whom? Is it the large infrastructure giants or the founders?
So you're talking about the large infrastructure giants versus the startups, right?
Yes.
Right. So it again depends. I wouldn't say that somebody is exploiting or somebody is taking advantage of others, but I think it's a mutual thing that startup works with the big companies in order to sell their product or services, whatever they're working on. So I wouldn't say that somebody is utilizing somebody in order to make them like their profit. Or so it's I think a mutual collaboration between the companies, large companies and startups to work and come up with a solution which would kind of help the humanity as we're talking about ethics. It again comes down to the fact that whatever the good tech we're building these days, what is good tech? It is something which is helping or embracing the human nature, not taking advantage of it, right? So it is understanding that and building whatever a startup or a big company is doing. It is understanding the fact and going through that would be more ethical rather than just building something because we have a technology and then realizing later that it is the technology which is for not for helping but then hindering us in doing things, right? So it is equal responsibility of each and every person. So to answer your question, I don't think somebody is taking advantage or doing things. Big companies are getting benefit for small companies, but I think it's a collaboration wherein each person and each business wants to do something good for the society and also at the same time earn profit. But then it shouldn't be at the cost of taking advantage of human and then making money out of it. It should be something which will be helping human and which is again, valuing the human rights, valuing one's fairness, security, safety, transparency. These are the basic ethical principles that has to be followed by each and every company, I would say. But yes, so I think it has to be a collaborative way of working together to build something good for the society, which helps, right? Yeah.
So you are not taking anyone's side. Like
Yeah,
you're
I mean,
saying, so, yeah, they go hand in hand. My next question is to So it's general question, perspective of investors. So do investors truly evaluate ethical risk or they only think about market potential?
So it depends on the investors, company business that they put in. So sometimes there are like hedge funds who just look for X amount if I invest, what's the profit that we can make over it? 5x, 6x into the next 5 years and all. So some of the other companies, they don't want to get into these few businesses, even though the revenue model is good or revenue model is exciting. So it comes to different investors' point of view. For us, Ament Capital, we only want to be in the security business. And we would like to encourage all the security startups that be part of since 2023. Because my first company when I started, it's a cybersecurity company as I mentioned, and also AI security that we try to do. So what our principle is to be in one industry and explore another industry, but we have strongest opinions. So when it comes to losing our principles, losing his money is fine. So yeah, so sometimes it depends on particular investors and their point of principles and their work collaboration for long-term period. For example, an investor or a company is chipping in into your organization. And if they wanted to exit it, they made up mind that they wanted to exit in the next 1 year. All they want is 2x or 3x. That's it. There is no other, because we know that we are trying to exit in the year.
So build as much as you can in the meantime.
Exactly. So yeah, that's depends on.
Would you fund an AI startup which has unresolved bias concerns?
We are not sure about investing in AI yet. That's it. Because we have not, in order to look at any startup who are generating a new AI product or information, we have to understand that what it is servicing for, what it is capable of doing, and for that, we have to have that knowledge and capacity. So when some new AI company, just like you mentioned, that come up and they wanted to produce some results in it, just back to the question, right? Where it is understood or accepted. So it's like testing. And with AI, involving in AI companies also comes with a lot of anticipations and challenges because it shouldn't affect anyone's human intentions or anyone's behavior. So if let's say a company is just producing faces, but if it is grasping from other data from human faces, there is a trouble that that company will be in a trouble in the future. So we are unsure about what the capacity is. Without those risks, knowing or without those deep understanding of the models and services, so we cannot start getting in this.
I will move to Sir again. So, when building fast, is ethics actually part of sprint planning? And the question is to you also, sir. We will come back to you. So when we are planning to implement AI for building things faster or to get things done much faster, so do we consider ethics in that sprint?
It depends on use case to use case and case basis. Here I would like to bring two examples. One, when we are building our own product, we always have key stakeholders in the whole discussion. We onboard psychologists, psychiatrists, everyone in the industry, and try to pick their brain. How we are trying to build, and then we actively engage them on a regular basis, not on a day basis, but when we say sprints, not on the daily or weekly basis, but say monthly or quarterly basis. So when we are trying to build something fast, we have to be extremely cognizant of what we are getting into and how are we trying to solve the problem here. And because our industry is not a global industry yet, in India and also globally, and we need to be extremely careful and cognizant of okay, what we are trying to build. On the other hand, when we are trying to build on non-critical use cases, I think when there are no guardrails or nothing specific that are being already established, I think we can use a Ferrari engine to build a product. I think it's a double-edged sword. It depends on what kind of use case and what kind of situation that you are in, and then based on that, you take a decision.
But does it really depend on whether it is a new company or whether it is already an established company? So what I mean to suggest is, if it is a new company in the early stage of survival, does ethics play any role? Or do they really think very minutely about ethics?
So it does a lot. Ethics stem out from an individual's instincts and moral guidelines. So, and somebody with those high principles will always think about, okay, whether I'm doing it right or wrong. Whether I'm, like said earlier, all these investment decisions, somebody's moral ground is extremely high, not taking their hands into any task actions that are remotely successful. So I think we should use, those sort of, baselines, in going about building the product on AI. This, at the same time, it's not about you company or old company, it's about what is the trajectory of that industry. And then is it a new industry, whether you are completely aware of the entire ecosystem and the value chain, which actually, because if you don't have enough information, and although your moral ground is high, you might fall into some sort of trap going. So I think that's where we need to bring on board certain people who are grounded. Just like the guardians we have for building a system, we need to have guardians to actually ground us.
Got your point. Hemant, do you have any take on this?
Can you repeat the question?
Question is, when building fast, is ethics actually part of the plan?
Yeah, okay. So you said right about the sprint. So I particularly remember when I was working in a company long time back. There was, out of the 2 sprints, we used to have one day where there is no work, but all you have to do is research. Just be on your own, try to research. Then and there, it was my first time when I started. Then I was like, no work today, but just get paid. So, and after getting to a couple of months passed, I wanted to implement that because between the sprints, you just give amount of time where do your own research, come up with new things that we allow just take a day just for researching, just for producing work better that everyone can do. So yeah, between the sprints, we would like to introduce that as a thing that creates creativity for every team member in the organization.
I will proceed to the next, which is to Sharad. So, cloud makes AI global instantly. Should deployment require ethical clearance before scaling?
Yes, I would say yes, definitely. The reason being, uh, the deployment itself, for example, ethical deployment, when you say that, it's the responsibility of each and every person, starting from whoever is building it to whoever is approving it, the leadership team, the company who is putting out there to the public. It's the responsibility of each and every person in the organization. As of now, I don't think that is, I would say, shared responsibility thing with everyone. It's just people are thinking that it's a responsibility of security that they have to have this. But to me, what I believe is it's a responsibility of each and every person to question whatever they're building. Okay, this is what I'm building it for. Whether it serves the purpose, does it also have these consequences? If it is working this way, should I really, consider the other things? So I think it's responsibility starts from each and every one, starting from the build to the deployment. So it has to be ethical in every way, I would say. So basically, how do we achieve it? Is something having a regular audits within the team based on the product, whatever we're building, the AI system. So having regular checks, having a straight board for having these clearances related to the ethics, whether it's something that is, safe for the people who will be using it, whether it's secure, whether it's transparent, whether each and everything part of that AI system, if somebody asks, a customer is using it, do they know each and everything inside out of that product, right? And also considering the other things like fairness, not having any bias, whether it's discriminating against a particular gender or any other things, right? So it's about considering all these things without actually deploying a particular thing. And I think with this other question that comes up, who would be responsible if something goes wrong? Whether it's to be the system, AI system, which is to be blamed, or is it the person who is building? So I would say it's a shared responsibility again, and it starts from each and every person, starting from building to the people who approves it, to people who actually audits it, verifies it, or everybody who is involved. So I wouldn't say, because again we come back to the consciousness part which we were discussing earlier. Because AI system itself isn't conscious but aware about things. It just does what you tell it to do, right? So it is our responsibility, because we have the consciousness, we have the awareness to tell the AI system what is right and what is not. So I think it's again coming up to the responsibility of each and every one. Yes. Yes.
Question I'd like to ask to all of anyone can take one. So we talk about clean air, but data centers consume massive power. So is it ethical to burn megawatts of electricity for generative AI that mostly produces memes and marketing copy, while the planet faces the climate crisis?
I can go with at least, at least as a human, as what I value for the society, is that is something that you also have to consider, because environment sustainability is something which is on the head in the, in the like era of building something with AI, making sure this is doing great things, having that great intelligence, but also considering the fact that how is it environmentally sustainable, right? Because it is utilizing all the resources like energy, the water, and all that. in order to build these models, in order to train these models, in order to make everything working. So it's really something which is, that's something we have to do, because technology is something where we can do everything. But again, the question lies that whatever the technology can do we really have to do it? Right? Is it really ethical to do it? Those are the questions again come back to us whether building something. So that I would say it's still a question mark, but because everybody is doing, we should not go in the flow and then come at the end thinking, oh, why did we do it? So I think it comes back to again thinking ethically from the start, then at the end when everything happens and it harms us. So that's what I would say.
Yes, your take on this. So at this point, we are fighting in both ways, trying to look greener on the planet and also trying to produce more in a country as for unemployment or for other challenges. So it's always cheese coming with a rat. So you cannot say what, but because there is one time I will give you a scenario where we wanted to establish a solar planet, solar unit for producing just for megawatt, 3 megawatts. So, but the government and all those things are not giving a permit for us. So, because it's already overproducing in that area. So for substation, there has a limit in order to hold that capacity. And it's already having exceeded the limit. So meaning that we cannot produce. And we are okay, based on all of this. But the same substation, whichever is having an excess amount, is what's said by the government, is cutting the power of 3 hours to the same, entire whole, bundle or for that. So, no, it's unmatched. When we are like producing electricity, when the government itself has an obsess, it's being overproduced. But to the reality check, it's not even sufficient for the basic needs covering the whole 24 hours for the next 365 days. So you can call me as thinking that I might be, a person disrupting, but in the reality, it's not even fulfilling the basic needs. So it's two ways. So we cannot argue until it is streamlined, right? So we can say plastic is bad. We all say you're using it on a daily basis, unless the government or any other infrastructure which can be needed put the rules or put a guidance out of it. So I'm not dissatisfied when we got rejected, but I'm so much dissatisfied. But it is overproducing, is what they are saying, but it is underproducing for the humanity. So who else has to check? That's the underlying facts that comes when we talk about being green, and also when we talk about misusing it or overproducing it, taking off the environment. So,
So it's opinionated to tell that memes are useless. It serves memes serve its purpose. It's become a mainstream communication language for Gen Z or even some millennials. But I understand that the issue is a lot about the AI's block. So sure, when we have a limited AI resources, we have to come up with we have to prioritize where this limited AI resources have to be used, right? And to avoid wastage. There might be two, the popular two ways is, instead of doing, applying blanket bans or restrictions to the AI models, the only efficient way we can solve this is with a better AI literacy. So we have to we have to tell the younger generations about the bigger picture of how AI works, including energy and the overall big picture. And I think that's the way to solve this.
That meme thing was just to provoke.
No, I think it's a chicken and egg problem. Like you mentioned that there is so many AI models consuming a significant amount of energy. And since this industry is growing at exponential level, right, there is no cap on the paid usage. People are using it left, right, and center, creating all these non-value added tokens. So I think once it reaches a critical stage, I think everything will be, capped. Once that capping is done, then probably these low-value items not go significant, but at the same time, there will be another business models that will be built around it. So, for example, if you look at battery cars or EVs, EVs are batteries are lithium. So, mining lithium itself is causing some of the damage to the environment. So, the same thing applies to this industry as well. So, that was my 2 cents.
Very interesting answer. Now, shall we go for a crossfire round? So we have this crossfire round in the sense we are contextualizing you a bit according to your backgrounds and your domains. So it's like startup versus infrastructure. Okay. So if AI ethic concerns or AI ethical concerns tank a startup, investments pull funding, and infrastructure pulls the plug. Right? Who do you prioritize here? Is it profit? Is it innovation? Or is it public good? So if AI ethical concerns tank a startup, investors pull funding, and also infrastructure pulls the plug. So in this condition or in this situation, who do you prioritize? Is it what do you prioritize rather? Is it profit? Is it innovation? Or is it public good?
So you're talking about when the investors backed off. Right, when they invest in the balance. Might be, this happens when the, it's not a scalable industry or very customized, but there might be various reasons. So, if I was the one who was developed it, I would fight for, for more investors to get in, to produce more, get on that more to give more output of it to make it work and all. But definitely that happens, but that doesn't define us, that doesn't define any product, because many investors have been moved, backed off from various products at various levels, and it is just we cannot decide something on it, but it's always what it serves. So what majorly it's like how efficient it is serving, what purpose it is serving, in what context. And today everyone is fighting, every organization is fighting to deliver it in minutes, so to make it accessible and faster. So if that is cutting down by the time, if any startup or anything like that is cutting down your time with a faster results, then it's that's a win-win situation. That's where you have to focus, even though if, the infrastructure backed off, if anything like that, it happens. But you just have to focus on achieving these primary goals to deliver it faster and get more audience in order to serve more authentically. So more authentically is what we can say. If we, that's where I first said being humans is much more important to create that authenticity rather than only being developed by bots. So having with humans, then we can make it more authentic, and also we can make it more try to make it more fast. Yeah, so even when that happens, these three would keep the startup running.
Right. Yes.
What was the first one apart from the innovation and the good, like public good?
Profit, innovation, or public good? Profit is the first.
Right. So what would I consider like the most? I would find an intersection of everything. Because I'm running a business, of course, I need profit, right? I can't just run a business without a profit. And then innovation, something I'm innovating for not just getting profit, but then for doing good for public, right? I'm innovating something, a problem. I'm trying to solve it innovatively, basically to solve an existing problem or inventing something new. It could be either way. So I would find an intersection of all of these because running a business requires profit, and then I'm innovating something to solve a problem which is existing in the market, maybe the market demands, public demands, and yes, so it's of course doing good for the public, right? So I would find the intersection of all of these three, yes.
I think we are running short of time, is it, the organizers? Are we running short of time? How much time do we have? It's not over yet, please. Okay. So, okay, I have one last question, and then we will have some questions to the audience also, from the audience also. So one thing that we have seen these days is many organizations have employed AI or employing AI in the recruitment process, right? So my question is direct, like how ethical it is to employ an AI to recruit or to recruit a human being in organizations. And there is a follow-up also, and this question is to all four of you because you are there in that position where you are hiring people and you are working with them. So the second is, if that is the case, or if that is what it is going to be in the future, how should our students prepare themselves when they are ready to enter the industry?
I'm glad that you have asked this question because I was anyways trying to put this out. Even if you didn't ask, I wanted the students to know what skills would be something they need to develop in order to thrive in this age of AI. But coming to your first question, the hiring systems within the corporates or the industries are basically implementing AI in their hiring system. The big example that I've initially mentioned was Amazon. Because I've worked with Amazon, so I know Amazon basically initially they have used AI into recruiting and hiring and shortlisting the resumes, right? What happened is they've realized over time is that particular AI system is biased towards men because it was trained on the past 10 years of data wherein the men were quite dominant in the tech industry. That's where it has learned that men are quite superior or men are, men should be hired. And that's why it was shortlisting all the resumes of men rather than women. And realizing this, that, they couldn't do much to correct what has been already implemented. So they had to scrape this project. So they have to put an end to that project. But I think there are different ways what we are evaluating within the industry, getting the resumes, but then also evaluating, as I mentioned, auditing, seeing you have a board wherein you see all these, whether the resumes are from both the genders, whether it is discriminating against the race, different things, considering all these things. So I think there are way more precautions or ethics involved in order to do the hiring nowadays, rather than just relying on the AI system to tell us that, just get us this resume and then just we interview. But then it also involves, when we talk about ethic, it also involves giving a second chance to a person. We understand what the person is coming from, right? When we talk to that person directly, because we have those moral values and all that, because we are, after all, emotional beings. So that is all in place within the current hiring system, at least through the lens of what I see in the companies that I have worked with. But coming to the question, the second one, which is,
How should our students prepare
how
themselves?
should students prepare themselves in the age of AI? So I would like to bring this here, that there was this one, like, we know Jamie Dimon, he's the CEO of JP Morgan and Chase. He has told it that, in this era of AI, or in this age of AI, if you want to thrive, the important skill that you have to build on is EQ, which is emotional intelligence. That is something not only Jamie Dimon, but then Satya Nadella, who is the Microsoft CEO. We have Matt Garman, the CEO of AWS. All these top CEO leaders have this thing in common, that they want each and every individual to prioritize these skills, which is not only cognitive skills, but also to prioritize on the emotional skills, right? The social skills, interacting with people, communicating in a better way, in a good way. So all these things matter a lot. And in the age of AI, the most important, apart from emotional intelligence, would be your critical thinking, your questioning the AI, rather than just accepting whatever it is giving and then just going with it. Because at the end of the day, you have to learn. You are into the education for learning purposes, right? Without learning, at the end of the day, you would feel, okay, ChatGPT or any other tool you use, get the information, go and submit. That's done for today. But what about the learning? What do you understand? Right? That is something we as educators also have to question the students to, like, what is your understanding? How did you evaluate this information, whatever you have gathered, right? So that becomes another skill, like problem solving, critical thinking in this era of AI. So that's what I would want to leave with, yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Sir, if you could, all three of you could also focus on this, throw some light on this quickly, because we are running short of time. That will be really grateful.
Yeah, so when applying for jobs or getting into an industry, it's more like you will be, it's not like last decade or last 5 years back before COVID. It's hard to speak with a HR right now than, it's been like you have to pass at least 4 stages in order to speak to a HR. I'm not talking about technicality, but I'm talking about you applying the job, and that the ATS which has been implemented by the company hasn't picked your resume. So that goes off consistent. That goes off consistent because it doesn't know whom to pick and whom to not. If there are situations, if your resume is 200% perfect, it would just think it as a bot. If your answers are too perfect, that's where, we are all talking about that, having that humanity or human intelligence, human intellectuality, to make sure that, that you have to answer any questions that have been addressed in a human way, not just single word answers or something like that. So in LinkedIn, you would be seeing before applying to any very good organization, they would ask around 80 questions, something like that. They are not technical, but they are completely of the behavioral questions, just to make sure that it is not auto-generated or your resume is not auto-botted. So these are the things that you would face while applying for the jobs. And you just have to be consistent without losing your emotional intelligence in applying them, making sure that you give proper and full-fledged answers rather than a single answer, to make sure that you are a human. Is that what it makes? It is the question that comes in. So yeah, and in order to get them prepared, using AI is a secondary, but questioning AI is the first thing that is needed. Yesterday, I was just looking for a simple question in ChatGPT saying that, hey, how many people would travel for Mahashivaratri tomorrow from Hyderabad to Coimbatore? And the answer was, the ChatGPT just says, no, I'm not able to answer something like that. And then I asked deep question saying that how many cars are going from Hyderabad to Coimbatore, pull me out the toll data and pull me out the social media, and how many would be posted from last year, and how many would be engaging or bought with the email IDs or things that are registered to in Hyderabad. And then it gave me a proper understanding and detail that it says that about 3,000 to 5,000 cars would travel tomorrow to Coimbatore, and in that about 1.5 lakh people would be present in there. So all those informations.
Right.
So that's what it is required in this era of first questioning the AI to the extreme detail. Then you would understand what it can do. That's what everyone would try, saying that question it to the extreme detail, not just, not a vague questions, to the detail, what it can do better. So then it, that it pulled me all the information from social media, from tolls, and that's what, I know that it is capable of doing it, but the questioning is important.
It's like critically thinking critically himself or herself, and also making the AI think a little more
Exactly, because
critically and deeply.
I would write it down saying that if you question that way, you'd be hired. You'd be hired in my company. That's for sure. Because that's what we needed. Questioning to the detail of it. So that way you would get results, and that results are important. That those results create more results again. That way it creates an evolution of questioning of to the particular detail, because it can do multiple things. But if you don't question it, you would not know it. That is first thing that is required for anyone who is looking for a job right now.
Thank you, sir. Can we quickly have...
Thanks for asking. So recruiting AI is more like a PR gimmick, right? So recruiting AI can never be an equivalent of recruiting a human. Like it can't have maternity leave, it can't have sick leaves and other things. Okay, jokes apart, as of today, we have to understand how AI is progressing. Of course, AI models are doing more faster coding. It's doing good documentation, and it's excelling in few domains. We're also entering a post-scarcity era of code. But we also have to understand that the two main aspects we have to understand here is all these training models have been, so there are different layers of AI. The compute, the data sets, and application. We're only just thinking about the app layer. But if you go down, when it comes to data sets, all these AI models have been trained on very limited data sets. And imagine now companies have started adding AI solutions to filter resumes and to have AI-enabled interviews. But what if these AI models kind of reduce the score of our engineering students just because they're speaking Indian accent of English, not the Americanized accent of English? Because that's how they have been trained. I think this is an opportunity for all our students, and also my call for all students. You have to, build solutions that fix this bias. So instead of being negative, you have to understand this. The PR is, there's so much of money is I think so much of money is being invested in PR than actual AI. But you have to understand the limitations of how AI and all happening. Instead of being pessimistic about AI, I think all the engineering students and faculty, everyone have to be very optimistic about AI. You have to now we have to ride the AI wave. When the Y2K happened, when computers have happened, majority of Indians have been managed to only be be the service side and the IT jobs have been only limited to do the patches, maintenance, or the support service of work. At least in the era of AI, I think we shouldn't miss this AI wave. We have to, this is like a gold rush moment for us. And I think we have to, give a call for all the students and faculty, to catch this wave, upskill in AI, understand how AI models work, not just limit ourselves to use some API, open API key and Gemini API key, but I also I think we should understand how these AI models have been trained or fine-tuned. We have to start building, working on, building better AI models, creating better data sets, which never existed. Like I told, we have, I want all students, just go out of your college, reach out to a manufacturing unit, understand how it works, go to a Kirana store, understand the market, understand the network, and think how you can use AI to assure manufacturing in India, how you can, use AI and better solutions for all the vendors. And not just in India, across the world, so many things are happening. AI is not just replacing humans, it's also unlocking many new opportunities. So if you see the case of Alpha Code, I come from the background of bioinformatics. So to the Human Genome Project took like decades. But now with the power of AI and advanced tools, now we are able to, and decode the complete genome of species within days. So that's the pace we have, that's the pace and that's the speed it's happening. From my experience, I've never seen any technology grow exponentially like AI. So it's unlocking new opportunities in every domain. The health tech is, going towards building more personalized medicine, and the education sector is, looking forward to building more personalized education, competency-based learning instead of having a blanket thing. Because in a class of 60 students will be, different students will have skills in different things, right?
Right.
So yeah, I'm very optimistic, and I also think. So I'm sure you're looking about all these news, right? Recruiting AI and few other things. I think students should come up with building solutions which analyzes social media, and we see how much of the social media feed is fear-mongering and sloth, and you should come up with alternative solution and alternative platforms that actually help us and and actually give us a way to look at the reality. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I think on closing note, I would want all the students to think of the lift man, whom we might have come across, who just operate, at the lifts. I think most of us have come across, and AI is going to eliminate those sort of jobs, which are mundane, which are low value add, which are repetitive, which are redundant. So AI is going to stay, it is only going to replace those jobs that are repetitive, mundane, and low value add. So all that you have to do is think of, okay, what value can I add? It can be at any touch point. That value add can become a startup idea in itself. And also think from a solution perspective rather than a problem perspective. How effectively can you solve that problem, and how frequently that problem is arising, and what is the magnitude of that problem? From that, you get your TAM, SAM, SOMs. And that's how you have to go about it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. So with this, we have come towards the last lap of this session, and there are some questions to the audience. So with your experience that you have and with the discussions that we had right now, there are some questions which I would ask all of you to answer collectively in yes or no. The first question that I have, would you trust an AI judge? So it's trusting multiple things from the perspective of AI. Would you trust an AI judge? Would you trust an AI therapist? Would you also trust AI to approve your loan? It's the audience is split here. They are not sure. And would you trust AI to control your traffic system and to curb traffic congestions? Okay. So yeah, that's it. And I open this floor to audience now. If they have any questions to ask, Please go ahead and feel free to ask the questions. Our panelists are here to answer your questions.
I'm Anuradha. Yeah, I just, yeah, you are all experienced, and maybe it's open-ended session kind of, but for students, here, we are novice kind of, like they are entering into. So I just want to draw a parallel. I mean to say a context. Like we write user stories for requirements analysis. Just like that, can there be a framework for these ethical, who are the stakeholders, where this biases, who takes responsibility when an automation is done, like incident mitigation kind of. Can there be a kind of a framework, just like a tool, not like a crutch, like dependency? Because with experience, I understand that based on the use case, we maybe, hope you understood my question. Like,
I think to answer your question, ma'am, I think if we can look at European Union as a whole and the kind of legal frameworks that they have built, I think you get more than half your answers.
okay.
I think they have set the benchmark for all these guidelines because they keep humans at the epicenter of building any legal framework. So which also includes your ethics, moral grounds, so on and so forth, and the fair usage of all these technological developments.
So there is a template kind of.
You just have to follow that, and probably it will give you some sort of structure to your thought process.
Structured, yes. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you.
Sure. There should be a strong, framework, and we need, different stakeholders, to audit how AI works. And the fundamental thing for someone to audit, if there is a bias in a AI model, but for someone to audit, if there is any discriminatory things that have been codified into AI model, the fundamental thing is they need access on how the AI model works and how it's been trained. So that's what we're telling is, when the AI model is closed, it becomes a black box. It doesn't allow anyone to audit. All you have to say is you have to rely on the word of the company, which is, impossible to trust. The fundamental thing to audit is, the AI models should release their weights. Along with weights, they also have to make the hyperparameters. Hyperparameter is all the factors that have been used to train that AI model, the recipe. So that when we release the weights and recipes, we can audit into that. Like he was telling, we can look into AI model and see if American accent have been given more weightage, it have been trained prioritized over other accents. Maybe we can, only if we can have the access to open parameters and hyperparameters, open weights, we can see if the requirements and realities of farmers in Anantapur or Karimnagar or the localities, because the weather conditions and the factors are different, how it works in India than how it works in different societies. Only when we have access to look at those things, we can understand if there is bias or not. So that's the reason we should demand strong open source licenses for AI models. Thank you.
They're so confident that it's foolproof. Like, for example, Deloitte went into a huge loss when they used AI to replace human workforce. So, yeah.
I think to answer that question, at this stage, I think every company is just investing heavily on AI. I think that's what every company, recently we had Amazon who laid off 14,000 employees, I believe. So that's something happening with every other company, considering what they are automating. See, the other concern what AI is having is, the heavy automation of the blue collar jobs, basically, the lot of coding stuff, white collar jobs, and also whatever are repetitive and administrative tasks, I would say. It's automating that, but I think it's also another thing to think that we have to upskill ourselves. rather than what is existing in the market. But then it's an opportunity for us to upskill and then appear for an interview, or because AI is everywhere, right? Because now it's important to think and consider like, what are the other things that I need to, because it's not kind of, you will not have jobs, you will have jobs, but what kind of jobs, that is something we have to think and see, what is the demand of the companies, what is that they're looking for. So that's when I think we'll have to work on it. Do you have any other?
So to your question, you said like there are a lot of layoffs that happens, and I was talking to a CEO of one of the company, and he gave me a proper explanation of what happens. So in the COVID, right? So every company is like this. So in the COVID, there are a lot of losses that have been happened for our organization. So when does the hiring happen for any company? A hiring happens only when there is a new innovation that they are trying, right? When they are trying something new, that's where they will recruit new people and try. For these hiring, they also need funds. So what happened was, during the COVID, when the companies were on the losses, there was no penny that was put in any innovation. So meaning that when companies lost, there is no other way that they could put on for the new innovation. When we are talking about new innovation, we are talking about multi-million dollars, and new hiring goes into that. So it just came to a halt for 3 years, 4 years. And the only way that they could not innovate, and when it comes to innovation, they also take loan. The government has raised the interest rate from 3% in USA to 6%, 7%. And now, in order to create that loan or create that innovation, the government is not funding the proper interest rate. In order to match all these things, there were no creation of new jobs. And they have to cut corners. And that's why you will see all the layoffs. And I was part of the layoff. In 2020, I was part of layoff for Capital One. But it all happens because before COVID, there were 2 people working for a job, doing a job. And in the COVID, there were 3 people for the same job, like working, because it was being mass hired. And then after COVID, it was like 1 person doing the 2 persons job. So it's all because of how the interest rates fluctuate, how the innovations in that company goes in, and how the budget is allocated to. So in order to all these things that happens for hiring, firing, or all those things, it's a metrics. So for not thinking about all those things just to get our job done or to get our job, is just be innovative, be creative, all that thing. If you're fired from one company, that's because the metrics for that company is not valuating. But in the same fashion, the other company is hiring, right? If you see, I let my, for one of the companies, we hired for VMware. But the followed day, the VMware fired for like 1,500 people. So it just happens in that metrics. So do not think of it that it is, happening just for you or anything for that. But the thing that goes around all, because it's numbers, it's all the game, it's all in the play. So just you wanted to get in with your core talent, just go in. That's it. But do not think that any other industry is way more than AI. Every industry is equivalent if you utilize the AI in it. So it's the same that you have to utilize, how you can utilize AI in it. So it's just that. So AI is right now being operated in like lights. If I have to say command, something like that, it just turns off. But it's an engineering job, right? ECE job. But still it is using AI. So all those things, whatever pick you are trying to pick in, just use how much AI that it can do it. That's what, that's what we do, try to utilize. That's what we tell our developers, utilize as much as, scrape it, use it, see what you can find it. So that way it is easy for everyone else.
Hello, I'm Hasni. I'm a student studying here in CSE. So firstly, my question is, whenever we talk about AI, So, like for you, by when AI is used in companies or startups or by developers, the main fear is the layoffs, obviously. But we often forget the other risk of using AI by a common man. Right now, any person with a smartphone can use AI and impersonate someone. And we have been seen in social media recently, there's a trend going on of deep fakes and all, like impersonating celebrities. And it's almost like a human is speaking, the whole face and the personality. So this much level of usage of AI, and who is responsible here? The tech companies which are training this AI, the government which is allowing it, or the human who just for his entertainment is using AI in such a dangerous way?
So two things, right? One is layoffs and second thing is governance. So layoffs happens for different reasons. Limiting our discussions to layoffs that happens with AI, you might have heard, it's not AI replacing you. It's another person who is skilled with AI will replace the person who doesn't have the skill of AI. So it is inevitable that AI is going to uplift and reshape every industry. If you look at the history, no technology have cut across all domains like AI is doing now. AI is not just changing things in the computer science domains. It's influencing all other domains, right? So AI is going to become the new mathematics and new computers. So any skill, AI is expected as a common skill. Be it civil engineer, be it mechanical engineer, any engineer, not just computer science students. So we have to accept that, and we have to, it's a good opportunity for now that you're in college. You have to, use your time to, prioritize spending time on upskilling yourself in AI. When it comes to companies, companies can lay off people outright when there are poor labor laws. So we have to demand, come up with better and strong labor laws. Instead of just lay off companies, we have to make companies responsible for upskilling their existing employees, right? So they just want to, evade training cost and something, or come up with different reasons to do this. And when it comes to governing, I think you should also, we have less time, you should speak.
Sure. As far as governance is concerned, I think it's a collective effort. It has to be a total sum game rather than a zero sum game. So as and when all these industries evolve, scale up, with multiple use cases, it has to be a collective effort, and it has to start from the top. And with a strong political will, I think everyone can have these sort of grounding rules and baselines created. Once you have those baselines created, I think everything will fall in place. So with all new tools and latest technologies, there is also equal harm than benefit. And we also should be cognizant of how these things are shaping us as a society. And then we should be active in identifying, okay, these are certain use cases that might be harmful. Let us create some sort of stringent rules around it.
One last thing. Not just future, like 1-2 days before, Mighty have floated a set of rules. All social media platforms have to label if the content is generated with AI. And the removal period earlier used to be for 3 days. Now, if it is AI generated content and if someone flags it, the new rule says that they have to remove within 3 hours. So that is like just a small step. So we need to come up with, more such, more frameworks and more guidelines, to regulate how AI is being used. Yeah.
So with this, I think we have come to the end of this session. And I sincerely convey my thanks to all the panel members for for accepting our invitation and also sparing some time from your busy schedule. And we have been really honored to hear you, and we are really grateful for your practical and insightful thoughts. We hope to see you again here, and we hope to have you again in some other occasion. And I also sincerely thank the management, principal sir, CSE HOD, and all the CSE faculties and students for this opportunity to host this session. And Let us meet in another session after lunch.
I request Lalita Surya Kumari ma'am, Balaji sir, and Vijay sir to felicitate the panelists. Please be seated for 2 minutes, please. Huh? Sorry, wait for an hour. Rajkumar sir, please. I request Rajkumar sir.
I request Sumit sir to please be on the stage.
Madam has told just now to me.